All right, everyone, welcome to Tech Sales Hackers. This is a place where you're going to find all the strategies and everything that you need to know to hack into tech sales. Today is the very first episode. So hang with me. I'd love to introduce a good friend of mine, Donald Kelly. Donald Kelly, I'm so thrilled to have him today. He's um, he's a renowned figure in the sales world, known for his dynamic approach to sales and training and coaching. He also has helped countless individuals and companies elevate their sales game through practical insights and actionable strategies. Today, we're diving into the story of how Donald hacked his way into tech sales, and we're going also to uncover some valuable tips and lessons that you can apply to your own journey. So I'm gonna bring him to the stage again. Welcome, Donald Kelly.
My man,
Hey,
Davidson, thank you so much for having me, man. Congratulations on your very first podcast. This is huge. I remember
I
the
know
first time I
this
did
is
mine. So
this
it
is
was,
crazy. Like I procrastinated for so long, but I'm like, hey, I just need to jump on the camera, and if I can bring Donald Kelly, you're my inspiration, man, to get this started. So seriously, like for years, I have been following you. I've seen some of your podcasts, and I'm super excited to have you here today. So thank you so much for making the time.
no, of course, man. I'm more than willing and I'm grateful to be here. So thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm
So
humbled.
the
Humbled you've
like
had
I
me.
like the purpose. So I'll say again.
Said I'm humbled you have me.
No way, no way. Yeah. So we go way back. I think we started. I mean, we overlapped in college, but I'm
Mhm.
pretty sure I've seen you on campus because I graduated in 2007 and you were
Yeah.
on campus in 2006.
Yeah, I graduated in 2010 officially. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I started in
So after
2006.
yeah, so after I left, you kind of made history. So I missed
Oh
that
boy.
that piece when you were like, right? I don't know if there's. I think there's a little delay, but we're just gonna continue and then just kind of move forward. Um, So again, the purpose of this podcast, you probably have seen me on LinkedIn in the past few months. I'm like started on this mission, this journey, and helping people how to transition to tech sales. I recently had a son, and in the middle of the night, I was kind of feeding him and helping my wife, and then I had this epiphany. I was like, you know what, tech sales has completely changed my life, and in so many ways, opportunity to learn, network, financially. So many things, good things has happened, and then I decided, you know what, I'm gonna help other people transition to tech sales. I've been career coaching for so for over since college, since back in the days, and I decided to start just posting here and there, and then I see a lot of people, a lot of interest, and I was like, why not? Why not do a podcast and start interviewing people and their journeys and how they transition to tech sales? Because a lot of times what I have seen that people 80% of the time they're like, can I really do tech sales? Should I really do? I have this background. I have this job. I don't think I can do it. So I want to break all the myths that exist when it comes to transitioning to tech sales. Everybody has a different journey, different strategy. So how about if we just start right there, Donald? Can you just tell a little bit about yourself, at a high level, and then let's just dive right into the when you started your very first sales job. How did you transition? How did you hack to tech sales?
Yeah, I mean, I think my very first job in the tech world, it came from it was a managed IT company. So this guy that I knew, the managed IT company, we did worked with nursing homes and senior care facilities, and our job was to reach out to these nursing homes and see if they'll be interested in getting an EHR system. And then we started doing doctors' offices and working with rheumatologists and so forth. And that's where we started gradually getting into selling the software. We were a reseller for the software, so we learned the software and then we started reselling the software. it was fascinating because this was a whole new world. It was a new world for me because I had done tech, but I had not done tech, specifically software sales. But I guess if I want to go back further, in college, I started doing manage IT, not manage. I started doing IT training classes, selling
Mm,
MCSE and Net Plus,
mm,
and the certified ethical hacker courses and so forth. So all of that I was doing with the I was doing those since college, so the tech world became I entered it, but the software side, I guess if that's differentiation, was after college, and it I
mm,
loved it, and most of my career was in some kind of technology sales because I just found it fascinating. I was one, I liked the tools, but then two, I also liked the fact that it was able to benefit other people, and it was something I could gravitate to. I think in the era we grew up in, technology was just such a critical part of our lives. So it made it sense to be able to take advantage of it and to be able to sell in that space. And then the other part to that too is not going to lie, the money, right? In the tech arena, you can make decent money
mhm,
with good income. So those all of those factors help to encourage me to go after and to stay in it. So to hack into it, I got into it because of the people that I knew. It wasn't something that just um,
mm,
I was fortunate that I had people that helped me introduce me to some of the companies. So the first company was someone that I knew when I graduated from college. I got recruited out, so I got into come back to Florida, and then got into eventually got into the tech again. And so all of those were what you call it were because of people that I knew, and I think that's important. Most times when I work with sellers, I teach a class at my alma mater, and the course is all around
right.
becoming professional sellers. And most times when sellers are in school, they think about graduation and they're not thinking about that network. And I try to plead and tell them, and I force them in my class that they need to have
Mm,
a build a network on LinkedIn. And when they do that, it just makes life so much easier for them. It makes it so much more successful in the long run.
that's so true. That's so true. Like in college, we're just concentrating grades and trying to get homework done, and we totally sometimes forget about the actual people who are going to be giving us the jobs, right? So that's really valuable piece. So you mentioned about people. You knew people that kind of introduced you. What? Who are those people? Or just like people from your past job, like a church, like or like the grocery store? How did you meet those people? Like how? Why? Why would they introduce you? Tell me more
Yeah.
a little bit more about that because that piece is very important.
Yeah, the first one was church. So this someone saw talent in me. I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter Day Saints, and we go on a mission for 2 years. And when you come back from that mission, you're not afraid of anything, right? For the most part, I mean, you're knocking on doors for 2 years, for goodness sakes, and you get rejections, and you have all kinds of stuff. I was serving in the Detroit area, so I got my fair share of different challenges, right? So I wasn't too worried about a rejection. But what did happen was some folks saw me and they saw the transformation. Like, listen, this guy, he has a personality that is likable. He is outgoing. Perhaps we should go into sales. And that's not the best reason to go into sales, by the way. But they saw something in me, encouraged me to. It was Steve. He was a mentor of mine, and I knew him from church. So he saw the growth in me, and then he was encouraging me to come and work for his company, selling those IT training classes, those MCSE and Net Plus. I knew nothing about that industry, but that was a critical component again, because as someone that I knew, they had the trust in me, and that trust, and I didn't know.
Mm,
We growing up with knowing him, I didn't have any desire to go and wasn't my plan was to go work for his company or anything like that. But the fact is, the network that I had, and I had that relationship, and they were able to see something in me and what they were looking for in potential team members. So then, therefore, it made it natural that they could approach me about it. But that's important that you still that you build that network again, that you talk to and you learn and you connect with and you understand what other people are doing. because you never know if there's opportunities there. But he saw again and introduced me to the company, even though I didn't necessarily know that I could sell their solution. And it was hard at beginning because I didn't understand any of it, but
Hmm.
they had the trust in me, and that trust led to training, and those training led to me getting competent, and that competency led to me performing and bringing money in for the organization.
So basically, was he the hiring manager, or was he like
Yeah,
someone
he
who
was the
introduced
owner.
you
He was
to
the
someone
owner.
who hired you? He was the owner,
Yeah,
so he was the decision
yeah,
maker. That was
yeah,
straight shot then.
yeah. We
Okay,
didn't waste the time. We just went straight to the
okay,
top.
okay. So there was only one. No, that's the way. That's the way to do it. I mean, you're definitely you were blessed on that one. Okay, so thanks so much for taking us to that beginning, that very first one. It was the owner of the company. It was a hiring manager who knew, who liked you, who trusted you, who saw the potential in you and gave you the chance. And that's one of the things that a lot of people, if you are trying to transition, you don't have to go to the big ones, to the big Fortune 500, to the Microsofts, to the to the Amazons. You can always start just selling. You just need to have a quota. You just need to learn how to be in front of people and talk to people, and that's and you made all the way. I mean, after that, how many other sales jobs did you have after that? Many others, right?
Oh
Can you
gosh, let
tell
me see. One, two. Um, because I spent time and when I got into the software. So I'd say after that was three others that I got into before I eventually broke out and did my own stuff.
me? Okay, yeah, there you go. And when you
Actually,
started, you had
four. Say four because I did Dish Network as well.
four. So just a quick summary. No, 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 that's a good point. So out of that first one, how did you hack into the other ones? How did you transition to the other ones? It was always a referral, or you saw the job online and you applied?
Yeah,
Quick
as you
summarize
start,
on each one.
I have never applied for any job that I had on my own.
Okay.
um, as I start thinking about that now, which is crazy. The let's because you're making me think. So that job, obviously, they just had me come in, and I don't think I really did much interview because it was the CEO that knew me. Number two, when I did Dish Network, I did apply for that one. That was the one I applied for. Then when I did door to door security, selling security systems, I got recruited, like 90% of everybody that goes into that.
Hmm.
But I had a friend that was doing it and had me come on their team. Then when I went into graduated, I got into another company and in the medical space, and that was they recruited me. I didn't need to apply. The next company after that, Managed IT, they recruited me. So knew the owner again and one of the co-founders of that company, so didn't apply. And then the third did a lot of networking event while I was doing managed IT services. And then the when I got into software, that company I did apply, but it was a different way. Somebody that I knew recommended me to the VP of sales or a director of sale, um, and then he or associate director, whatever his title was.
Hmm.
But then I connected with him, and then he told me to fill out the online stuff, and I did, and that was smooth sailing after that
Just for
because it was
formality,
new.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's all of those were people that I knew, introductions, and so forth.
Okay. Okay. So I can see a pattern here. All introductions, all networking, and the most importantly, something that you said that you never really kind of had to fight or because you people already knew you, right? So you were in front of
Yeah.
people.
Well, and I want to back up because I'm working on a post on this one. The CEO of the software company, when I finally got into the software space, he sat me down and he said, "Why should I hire you?"
Mm.
And this was, he wanted me to prove myself because literally the person that was out there, she worked with a company before in a different department, and she came back. The other guy had like 15, 20 years experience, and
Wow.
then there was like me who was just like this young kid, right, coming into the space. So, with all that being said, I had no. I did have to fight in that sense because he asked me, why should I hire you when I got people out there at 15, 10 years experience, 10, 15 years experience selling software? In my
Mm-hmm.
mind, Davidson, I really wanted to say at that point, software been around for that long? Because it was like, what are you talking about that long? But this was like back in 2010, right? I graduated 2011. But there were these guys that have experience, even with different software that they were selling. But one of the things that I told them was like, I'm Donald freaking Kelly, and that's I told them that's how it was. I was like DFK, and I
I
said
love
that which
it.
I when I set my mind to something, I can do it, and I know I can do this job. I've done it before when I was student body president. I did it when I worked in selling IT training classes. I did it when I sold managed IT services. So I know I've done it. You give me the proper training and it's done. I could do it. I could do this job. And I went in with that confidence, that level of confidence, and it made a big difference. And they hired me. So that
Love
was
it.
the
Love it.
next chapter.
I love it because how many people actually go to college to go to tech sales? Like very little, right? I know that there's a lot of colleges like you teach online tech sales, and there's a lot of universities who are pushing those programs. But 20 years ago, I mean, 10 years ago, there was no such a thing, right? And you just have to have the transferable skills, and you have to be confident. You have to be
Yeah,
the mindset. That's what I tell people all the time. You just have to believe that you can do it. You have to have the mindset, and then in the eagerness to learn. Like you said, show me, give me the training, I'll get it done. And that's it. That's right. That's right there. Like there's no much secret.
it's a fast-paced industry, right? When when you look at like tech sales, it is very fast paced, and I think sometimes people get intimidated by it. Like I'm like for me at the beginning, I didn't necessarily know the technology, and sometimes you find people who say, "I've been in this other industry, I don't know if I can do that." Like blah blah blah. Like obviously,
Mhm.
if you're in an industry for a long period of time, yes, you're gonna really know that, and it's gonna make you more effective, and you don't have to relearn stuff. But if you're just starting off, like just it's a no brainer. You can do this just as much as you can do sell in the legal space or sell in the marketing space. You can sell tech sales can help you sell. And the other part to that too, depending on the companies you're working for, a lot of time the solutions people know of them already, so it's not like a revolutionary
Mhm.
thing. Like if you're selling a CRM, it's not like this is a brand new thing we're talking about. We're just explaining more about why our CRM it may be beneficial. And I think we're entering a new era where we have AI and new technologies that's helping us out, and those new technologies may not have, the world may not necessarily know some of these things yet, but your job to sell those is just being able to understand everybody has a problem, and I offer a solution. They don't necessarily need to know details of how everything function in it. And I think that's one of the biggest things I learned doing tech sales. I felt that if I was to sell you a software, then I had to explain every little detail in a software, and that's improbable. There's no way that I could do that. But what I
Yeah.
realized was if I focus on the challenge you have and solve that challenge, you can, you don't need to. It doesn't matter how it comes about. It's just the fact that now you have the solution. Let me give you an example. So I always love this one. It tie back to the guy. His name was Jermaine. He was the IT director. My brother name is Jermaine too. So I
Mhm.
called into him. He worked at it was a city, it was a school district, and I was talking to Jermaine, and I told him about what we did and so forth, did my little pitch. And then he said, this is a challenge we're facing X. So we started talking about the challenge. Now, here's the crazy part. When we did a demo, the demos typically were like 45 minutes.
Mhm.
Jermaine told me, and back then the way we did it was we did the disco, and then we set up another time and we had a demo with the bench, like whoever else, the key stakeholders and whatnot. So Jermaine told me this is the challenge we're facing. This is what I'm looking for. So when I did the demo, organized the demo with my project manager, we really focused on the problem that Jermaine had. I didn't
Mhm.
go into depth about all the other millions of features, or hundreds of features, I should say, but I went and I focused on the problem that he had and showed a solution how to fix it. And after we did that, again, this was probably like 10 minutes in, Davison, not the 45 minutes demo. He was like, okay,
Mhm.
I'm done. I've seen everything that I need to see. What's the next step? And it was great. So, but again, P brain Donald back then would have, the
Mhm.
first time getting into sales, be like, no, I would have probably said, no, 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 no. Let me show you more. Like I need to show you all of this, and you don't need to do that. Just solve the problem. Show them how you can solve the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Identify the problem, explain the problem. If you can explain the problem better than they can explain the problem, automatically trust get built into in you, and then just show them the solution. This is how we fix it. Voila.
That's really good point. So you kind of transition a little bit to how to be a good seller, and this is a good point because a lot of people say, "Hey, what Dave? Some kind of skills do I need to become a good seller? Like, do I need to have technical skills? Do I need to have soft skills?" And we go into the coaching of what's what. But you mentioned something very important there. That's a skill that every seller needs to have, and if you have that ability, then you'll be able to pivot on that phone call, which is the ability to listen, right? And
Yes.
listening. And then what else do you think that what kind of other skills, we're talking to people here that are on the fence. They're like,
Mhm.
should I transition to tech sales or not? I can do a demo. I can bring other people to the call. But what kind of skills should I have, or you know, what's gonna make me successful in tech
Yeah.
sales? How would you describe those skills so people are more prepared for interviews and that kind of stuff?
Yeah, the couple that I would tell you, the number one thing that I like to look for is curiosity. I'm telling you, man, I did a couple of interviews the other day, and um, we working with one of our clients and helping them build out their bench, and they were just getting like the BDRs or whatnot, and these guys they had no clue. The BDRs that we were interviewing, I get it that they're brand new, and they were trying to get into get a job and get going
Mm-hmm.
and blah blah blah. But the problem that I came across with them was they were kind of like order takers. They didn't have any curiosity. Even at the end, I asked, "So what questions do you have?" They had no questions about
Mm-hmm.
us or about the company or about the process, and it quickly was a red flag because I want salespeople who are curious. Even if you don't know a whole lot about the company, just ask us. Tell me a little bit more. Why did you decide to work here? Where do you see the company in the next 5 years or 3 months? Tell me about your if I how do you guys handle this situation? Why did you guys go after this sector? I see that you guys are growing in this area. What made this the priority? Like, even you bring some of those things to show that there's curiosity, because the problem, oftentimes the buyer don't necessarily know their problem that they might have. They know of the issue. They may know of a surface level problem, but they may not know the core reason behind that. And I'm the expert. I've sold this thing like thousands of times or hundreds of times. It's my responsibility to be able to help that person as much as possible. So let me go back and give you an example. um, I've had situations where I met with a buyer and they told me, yeah, we're looking to get this. And I got my happy ears going. And I'm like, oh, yes, we can close this. This is going to be a good deal. And then I jump off the call and then I go back to my manager and they're like, so when is it going to close? Well, they said they're interested. So I imagine it's going to be right, soon. How are they going to make the decision about it? Well, this person was talking like they wanted it. So I think they're going to make the decision on it. And there's so many holes in the process that I didn't get. Why are they looking right now? Well, I think because the old system wasn't working. Why?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I don't know. Like, there was no curiosity. It was just being an order taker. And you and I both know what happened to those deals. Like, they just stalled
Go
in the
dead.
pipe. They didn't go anywhere. But I was on Hope Island hoping that this thing would close. But you gotta have a high sense of curiosity, that IQ, to be able to say to an IQ and EQ, to be able to feel confident, to be able to ask those questions, because not that you're being, a nuisance, but I'm trying to help you to make an informed decision. My job when it comes to sales, in a way that I define selling isn't it's not to convince you, Davidson, to choose our product or service. It's never to convince you. My goal is to help you, educate you enough that you convince yourself that it's a no-brainer, if that makes sense. Because once I can educate you enough, then it makes you're seeing the process and you're choosing to say yes rather than me persuading you to say yes. When I trick you into saying yes or use some of those tactics, you will have buyer remorse or might question it. But when you are in your heart of hearts feel confident that this was the right decision because you got educated, it makes sense, and you're committed to it. So the curiosity factor is going to be helpful, and the curiosity factor helps you to be able to discover way more. Again, because the buyer they know, like, say for instance, I know that I'm thirsty, so I want water. right? That's what I tell you.
Mm-hmm.
But you might talk to me and say, Donald, tell me why you mentioned you're thirsty. Tell me why you're thirsty. Did you run a marathon or something? Like, no, I just haven't drank all day. But why didn't you drink? I just don't like the taste of water oftentimes. Like, okay, well, what if
Interesting.
I give you something instead of water? What if you were to drink some flavored water, Propel? Oh, I didn't think about that before. Well, you didn't ask, or I had no clue that was an option. But you gave me something that I didn't necessarily know about because you were curious enough to ask the questions. And now, once you've educated me, like, why Propel? Because it's more than water. You're going to have your water. You're going to get that restored natural stuff, but it also has electrolytes. And especially somebody like you who are looking at a screen a lot, you're standing a lot, you're working a lot from your day, you're going to need a little bit more energy. It gives you a little bit more boost. And I'm not telling you don't drink water, but this is a great substitute that you can have in your day for water. Obviously, it's going to be more than a bottle of water, but because you've educated me enough, and it's going to bring value or give me to be more productive in in the thing that I'm doing on a day-to-day basis. Your curiosity helps you to make more money, and it helped me to be convinced that I should do this thing. Now, the other part to that is effective question
Mm-hmm.
asking. Sometimes sellers feel that your job is to talk, but your job is not to talk as much. We've Gong has done this. We've all said this back in the days, right? That you should talk. You have 2 ears: talk less, listen more. But Gong did the study, and it answered and fulfilled that age-old principle, right? That we talked about. That your sellers should talk 60 to 40. Excuse me, should talk 30 to 40% of the time, while the buyer should talk 60 to 70% of the time. And based on the analysis that Gong had, that's what the top performers were doing. And those are the deals that were typically closing. So you need to be more effective at asking questions. When you ask great questions, people will talk. And that's what you want to get from them. So if there's two things that I would tell sellers, I want somebody that's curious, and two, you got to be darn good at asking. Just be curious enough to ask questions and ask more questions than you talk. So that
I
was a
love
whole
it.
lot.
No, no, I appreciate you even giving examples because it's good for people, to want to transition to tech sales, but also it's good for them to see once they are in sales the things that they can do to be successful. And you mentioned like two big skills: curiosity and then be able to ask smart questions, right? And go layers deep. Not only having the first answer and just being satisfied, but be able to ask a lot of questions. So hey, um, you can practice that anywhere, right? Any job. Like talking about that, is that any job that might prepare someone to do bad in tech sales? I was just have this thought as you were speaking. Is there any roles, like for example, before you came to tech sales to actually selling? What did you do? I know you mentioned about your mission for the church. Anything else that helped you, or like if you were a teacher, or I don't know, if you're like in retail, what do you think? Any specific position that
Yeah.
you think help?
So I do believe these skills work in everything. I did, like you mentioned, it helped me out when I was a missionary. But the other part to that too, it helped me when I did. I was a server in college, and also when I did other jobs where I may have worked in an office. Like the ability to be able to communicate effectively, to be able to have curiosity, helped me to be able to do well in my responsibilities. So I didn't, I didn't just go do a job that my boss gave me. You asked questions and you did research and you try to figure out why and how and what's the best and what's the best way to be able to go and do get the job done. So that's the first component, and then two, the it is definitely transferable to other responsibilities. So in my office work, it helped me out. In my responsibility as a missionary, asking effective questions that will help me out. In my volunteer roles, it helped me out. In my leadership responsibility, the sales skills help me out. It is very, very, very transferable. And I would encourage people, if you're going into a company, go through. A lot of times you can start off by going through sales, and then you can go into other departments. But getting an understanding in sales is going to help you to give the foundation for the next things that you might do or other roles in that company.
Love it. All right, so I'm looking. I made a couple of questions here. I know you covered a lot of things. If anything comes to your mind, just feel free to share. But
Yeah, yeah.
we talked about networking and the importance of being in front of people. So they know you, they like you, they trust you. You mentioned about having mentors as well. Is there any, like, I mean, courses or books or anything that people can actually study to transition to tech sales? Is that anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think there are definitely some courses you could find out there. I would encourage you to jump on a podcast, listen to podcasts like this, to be able to see what people are talking about and to learn. And then the other thing, I mean, there's other books like there's you can check out Jeb Blunt's book, Fanatical Prospecting. You can check out my book, Sell It Like a Mango. You can check
Mhm.
out The Psychology of Selling. I think it's Brian Tracy. It's a oldie,
All
but it's
right.
good. And then you can also, as far as like programs, we have a BDR prospecting program. I know other companies have different training programs as well that you can go through, that you could take advantage of. And then the other side to it is just like it's really comes down to just starting for it. Just take advantage of opportunities out there. Even if you're not working, getting a major gig at like Microsoft out the gate, start off at anywhere with a sales position, and just improve on your skills, and you'll be amazed how that will help you get to the next thing. BDRs stay in a position or in the, I think it's anywhere from 18 months to
Mhm.
24 months. So, I mean, you go to a company, you learn, you start, and you don't have to be married there. You can go on to another company, but just start. Don't procrastinate it.
Love it. And I see every day. I mean, there's so many SaaS solutions coming up every single day, and startups, and they need people to sell those things, right? They're building an army of sales teams from left to right, and then I see a lot of opportunities. And as talking about the future, do you foresee any changes in tech sales? Should people be afraid of transitioning to tech sales? Is technology going to go away
Yeah,
anytime soon? Right.
yeah. I think there's the evolution with AI right now is real. There's a I feel that there some monotonous things that AI is going to take away. But here's the other thing that I had a heated conversation with a friend. People sometimes will say, "Well, AI is going to take jobs," and I'm rightfully so. I think there's like, and as I mentioned, I'm not trying to sugarcoat it. Some jobs are going to go away because of AI. That's just the truth of it, hands down. And what's going to happen? It makes evolution at that point because of the fact that we are advancing in technology. We're advancing as as we're advancing as in society. More opportunities come as a natural byproduct. It may not be those menial tasks of going to do a researcher, but there's going to be other roles that is going to evolve because of that. So I think we're always going to tech is always going to be there, be in a forefront. There's always going to be opportunities, and right now, at least for the next foreseeable future, people love to engage with others. You can even go back to the Gartner study from years ago where people say they want to have sellerless process. And I think it
Mm,
was 54% of them said they want a sellerless process. But then when they got into a sellerless process, there was like some crazy number, like a third of them said they had buyer's remorse and wished that they had a seller in the process. So you
mm.
are always going to be needed to some degree.
Love it. And I know you're really active in social selling, um, because of your podcast, but also because of your business and the things you do. I know we didn't talk much about it, but I know we're getting close, close to a close here. Can you tell a little bit more about what you currently do?
Yeah.
How you're helping sellers once they get into tech sales? What's next, right? I do have your book. I was looking for it earlier today. I know it's kind of hard to find here. Let's see.
All good, man.
Can't
Um,
really see, but
yeah,
yeah, tell us a little bit more about TSC and what you guys do and how you can help tech sellers once they transition.
yeah. What we do, we offer several things. We do help people a lot with top of funnel, helping them with prospecting, show them how to use LinkedIn to find people. One of our premises that we teach you how you can generate at least 3 appointments per week from LinkedIn. We also teach people how to conduct, become effective. It's a sales foundation course that teaches people how to understand the prospecting side, discovery, and building value. And then it goes over closing as well. And then we have the BDR prospecting course, which is really around building top of funnel, cold calling, cold email, and social. And then we have a mastermind. So sellers who
Mm,
have been trained and they're coming together every week. We have a basically like a place where they can practice, where they can work together with other sellers and get feedback and guidance. So there's a variety of stuff that we do in that arena, but it's really most of our stuff is top of funnel.
awesome. Because
Yeah.
our goal at Tech Sales Hackers here is to help people transition, but also there is already sellers on the field, and I want to make sure both we're connected, so we're collaborating, help each other. And no, this is good. This is good information. So, what's next for Donald, and how can people learn more about you and be connected?
Yeah, connect with me on LinkedIn, Donald C. Kelly. Donald C. Kelly. You can find me on LinkedIn. And the next big thing is we're looking for ways to be able to just make sellers' life easier. And we have some stuff we're working on, and we're not at liberty to say yet. But if you want to learn a little bit more
Really
about
cool.
us and stay in touch, just go to salesevangelist.com, jump on our email list, and we'll keep you informed.
It's awesome. Well, I know it's been over 30 minutes. Thank you so much, Donald, for talking a little bit more about how did you hack into tech sales. I wanna use the word hack because I feel like getting into sales is not easy, man. It's you
No.
know tech sales, especially on the best sales roles, and I know a lot of people are aiming for those big ones. But you can always start somewhere. You don't have to start on the big ones like just Donald just described. You can just use your transferable skills, start where you are, and then you can move to wherever you want to go, and can even open your own business about selling, just like Donald did. So I appreciate your example, and truly an inspiration. I might take some of your courses. I need some refreshing on my sales skills. I consider myself, average. I'm not the greatest, but I can always do better. There's always room for improvement.
100%, man. Same here. I do improvements as well, so
Awesome.
much
Thanks so
appreciated.
much, Donald. Glad to have you here. This is the first podcast that we have, and we're gonna be bringing more tech sellers, people who hacked into tech sales, and they're gonna show the way, and they're gonna teach you how to get it. So thank you so much today, and have a good one. Thank
Thanks,
you.
brother.